What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Champion Living Podcast, where we believe that consistency, perseverance, and not taking life too seriously are the keys to success. I'm Doug, the founder and owner and head coach of Champion Living Fitness. Each week, I'll be joined by my coaching staff with the vision of providing trustworthy information about fitness, nutrition, and mindset, and how this all applies to being a professional rodeo athlete, as well as people from all walks of life. Are you ready to become a champion? Let's go.
Later. Hey, Dad, where are we going? Going to a ball game. Oh, that's right. Yeah. And then, 5 minutes later, hey, where are we going? I'm like, dude, if you ask me one more time, we are going to a ball game. Do not ask again. Yeah. We're going to a ball game. Oh, yeah, okay. And then he gets his feelings hurt. I'm like, dude, it's not my fault. You're stupid. I'm telling you. Listen, I'm sorry. Okay, I know.
Well,
that
actually,
comes from my side of the family. I understand, right?
If we want to break it down
for me. And you're gonna have to learn. Listen, I've learned how to, over 35 years, I've learned how to deal with just being dumb. Right? You're gonna have to figure it out because I can't put up with it anymore. And it is just.
Turns out genetics is a thing.
It's a thing, and no, for
ADHD
sure, he definitely got
hereditary.
that. I'm not even gonna pretend. He definitely, CTE hereditary. Can we pass that on?
I was gonna say, does he have that?
Holy smokes!
This
kid is like. Oh man! This morning they've got gymnastics this morning. The boys are going to Grandma and Papa's to hang out for a little while. Lacey's gonna take Conley to gymnastics, and then they've got a goat and sheep sale down at the sale barn. It's like 30 minutes from here or whatever. And they're like gonna go check out the goat and sheep sale. I swear she didn't take a trailer, so she does have the minivan. She might bring something.
I was about to say we're talking about goats and sheep here, bro. we can stack some wherever.
She can stack some. Yeah, that's very true. But at any rate, I mean, that's like. We go over the game plan, tell everybody the game plan. Oh, that's awesome. And 6 minutes later, Kana's like, is there even a sale barn near us? Is there even a sale barn around? I was like, why would I tell you I'm taking you to the sale barn if there's not one around, dude? We're going to the sale barn. Well, there's one around us. Yes. Oh, okay. I'm like,
he just got short-term memory loss. The kid can speak perfect Portuguese about bull riding, but he just can't remember what's going to happen in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Callan is definitely 10-second Tom, though. He is for sure 10-second Tom or whatever from 51st Dates. Like every 10 seconds, he wakes up in a new world. He's like, what's going on right now? What's happening?
He's also, what, 2?
He's 3. Okay. He's 3. He should know. No, I'm just kidding. He is yeah.
Dude,
it's been fun.
Last 3, and it's like she's drunk all the time.
Yeah.
Straight up wasted all the time.
That's actually probably a fair analogy. Yeah,
it's pretty
funny.
You
did just get my wheels turning on whether or not CTE can be passed down, because I got to thinking kind of there's a world of epigenetic study and stuff, and at the time you conceive a child, your current state of health may or may not influence what genes that are passed down to them. And so I Googled it, and the first study that comes up is it doesn't they don't necessarily know it's not binary, there's not yes or no. But they have identified at least one gene that is linked to susceptibility of CTE. So
interesting
topic for
very
another day.
Interesting, and not very. That's kind of not surprising when I think about it a little bit further. That's wild, dude.
Explains so much.
Doctor on here that knows what the hell that's about.
We do. That'd be sweet. Yeah.
We do listen to our fans, though. We are getting some people on that they've asked for.
Yes, we do.
It rhymes with Matthew East. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't rhyme with that.
That doesn't rhyme with that.
Wow.
That was great.
Wow.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Good morning.
Oh, man.
We are here to stay. Let's fucking go. Oh, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. What'd you do?
I was just going to say, I went on a fly hunt yesterday after we wrapped up our podcast yesterday. And then I had to open the garage door, and now I need to go on another fly hunt.
I can see Paul leading fly safaris. You just freaking just
you ain't far behind it, Logan.
Hunting guide. Hey, I'm good now, man. I put up a trap. I put up one of those tape traps, you know what I'm saying? And I put it up right here, kind of by where I do my podcast. And you can't hardly see the yellow tape. There's so many daggum flies on that thing. I need to change it out because it's pretty disgusting now that I look at it. But Oh, there's one. But
Bro.
I'm doing pretty good. Here's the issue is that I clear them out. But
I have
then
no
because it's
questions about Cannon's current status right now
Well-
after watching you.
it's a cinder block building, and so in the wintertime it stays pretty warm, but in the summertime it also stays very hot, and it doesn't cool down. So in the mornings early when I come out here, I like leave the door open for a little bit with a fan blowing to blow the cool air in here.
Oh yeah,
That's when
Yeah,
all
just
the
blowing
flies
flies
come
in.
back in.
yeah, done
Yep.
messed up.
Done messed up, AA Ron.
Hey, Ron.
La Logan.
La la la.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, no flies though, not very many. There's like one or two.
Well, I'm happy for
Yeah,
you.
sure.
I'm glad that you're not
Thank
getting
you.
pestered by the flies.
Yeah, me too. Just
Seems
my
like you got
children.
enough on your plate, man. Yeah.
I do have enough on my plate. I do have. This is like the best week of ball ever. We had a game last night. We have 3 more games this week, but they're all at home, which is like 3 miles down the road. So that's real nice because the game
Sick.
last night was an hour away. You drive an hour away to take a 3-year-old to play t-ball just so he can
That's
strike out
wild,
twice,
dude.
pick his
Yeah.
nose in the dugout. Come on now. Well, we could do this at home. You know, like
Yeah.
what
We could do this.
we can do this at home. But no, it's good. It's been fun. I was thinking about it this morning. I took a picture of us on our way to the game yesterday, and I was thinking about like so I see so many parents with their 5 and 6-year-olds on these ball fields, and these kids they're learning, they're developing, and maybe they get a hit, and then like 8 adults, 10 adults at the same time start screaming.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, run, 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 run. And the kid just is like deer in the headlights, just like panicked. What do I do? Where do I, like, I've never been here before, you know, and they're trying to figure it out. And I was just thinking about like trying to tie it into some long-term athlete development, you know, and like what do they really need at this stage? And they just need the activity. So anyway, I don't really have a point with this other than the fact that like I don't care if my kids are good or not good. Like I would love for them to get hits and be able to run the bases and make plays when they're fielding and stuff. And I'm sure that will come if they continue to play. But make no mistake about it, that's not the reason why we're playing.
Mhm.
You know, that's not the objective behind us playing, is being some phenom 11-year-old ball player. I just want them to know how to run. You know what I'm saying? I want them to know how to sprint. I want them to be able to perform in what they feel like is pressure situations. You know, I want
Yep.
them to be able to do some of those things. And I think that, you know, starting them young is something that gets missed by a lot of 3 to 10-year-olds today. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's ball or gymnastics or whatever, like just getting them active. They might have that 1 hour of activity, but then they're
Mhm. Yeah,
stuck in
I
the
mean
house.
that was pretty easy to spot on our t-ball league as well, because like you would see a kid and you could just tell like, oh, this one's athletic, like this one's super athletic. But like, at their age, they get a hit and they might launch it because they're the most athletic kid on the team and they're super fast, but they still don't know like which direction to run or like how to take cues from a coach or whatever. So like there's like this, I think there's a little bit of a disconnect between the mental and the physical side of the development at the same time, but like there's also that huge distinction between what kids are already prone to be athletic just because they're more active like all day long. And then you
Yep.
can tell the other kids that like they probably don't do much. Like they probably go to school and when they get home they're playing on the iPad, and it's like it's very, very obvious to spot those differences like in a team setting like that.
At that age, kids don't really have confidence at anything that they're doing because they're learning everything. Everything is new
Mhm.
every single time, right? So these kids that are really good or talented or athletic, whatever, most of them are just born genetically that way. They're, that part is shining through. They're naturally more going to be able to do those things or be more athletic than someone else who hasn't practiced. Or as a younger kid, they may have developed a little quicker and been doing some of those things quicker, whether it is just like older brothers and sisters chasing them around the yard, learning what they're doing. Like the development's just different at that age. And I think the biggest thing you guys are getting to here is like at that age, no matter how good they are, it really doesn't matter. because it does not determine that they're going to be a professional anything.
Mhm.
It just means that
Yes.
they are able to learn. They are able to be athletic. They enjoy the sports, and I think, like you're saying, get them to enjoy doing everything, and then figure that out later in life. If they want to specialize anything or even go that route, because
And I think that
we
gives
see
them a leg up, like just to having
Yes,
fun, enjoying the activity.
1,000%.
I completely agree. I'm like, I want to give them the fundamentals, and we practice at home, we try to have fun practicing and stuff, but it's not really like I tell them the same thing before every game. I give them a fist bump before they go get ready to start the game. And I say, try hard and have fun. As long as they're giving it everything they've got, and they're making an honest effort, whether it doesn't matter what the outcome is, as long as they're having fun and they're trying, that's all I care about. And the rest will come in time, no matter what they do. Those are the two universal principles, right? You can apply that to business. You can apply that to life. You have to try hard and you have to have fun, or you should be having fun. And that's how you're doing it right, when you can, you have both those things. Anyway.
Yep.
It's a journey, man. This parenting thing is a trip.
Yeah, it is.
It's wild.
And I can say this because I don't have any kids yet, but all y'all out there that have those young kids and you think they're just going to be the next fucking Babe Ruth, they're not. They're not, man. Especially if that's what you think, because I can automatically tell you're going to push them to the point where they're not going to want to play anymore. This has to be
You're
fun.
already positioned in a place to ruin it for them.
What you guys are doing is building a positive relationship with. If they find success, it's still tied to them having fun. And if they don't find success, they're still having fun with it. It doesn't deter them from wanting to go try something different because you put too much pressure on them to swing a bat at 3 years old at a fucking T-ball. No one cares. It's about getting out there and the new experiences. And I think that's what that goes for it. Man, anything in life, it's
I want to
builds more confidence as they do more new things.
That's exactly right. It builds the confidence. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to just crap on the parents that are, helicopter with. That's what I want to do. I want to say, hey, don't swing so late. Hey, don't I want to get up there while I want to stand playing onto the chain link right behind home plate and coach him through it. I'm internally wrestling with the desire to try to help him be successful. But that's the biggest part is hey, we work hard at home, and then just go have fun, man. There's already going to be 17 adults yelling at you in just a second, or giving you advice and telling you things. You don't need another one. You can't process all that stuff. You don't need me. That's why I always I think maybe my in-laws are they think I don't care, because I always put our folding chairs away from home plate. We always go out to left field or right field, somewhere out there along the chain link where I can still see home plate, and that's where
awesome.
I sit, so that I'm not climbing the chain link over there, because I know myself, and I'm like, if I sit here, I'm not going to walk all the way down there just to give him some advice. I'll sit here, watch, and I wrestle with that myself. I know how easy it can be to give unsolicited advice, because you want to win.
That's a really good. I think everybody would probably have that perspective, dude. It's just your internal. You just care so much. You want them to do good.
Why do you suck so bad?
Yeah.
Well, that's it though. You're holding back your own desire to do that is really what's going to determine whether or not they pick up a fixed or growth mindset in the future.
You're right.
Because you're setting the stage right now. It's if you don't hold back on those urges to coach and overcoach, and you just start saying hey, you're really good at this, or you're really bad at this, or you need to work on this, or whatever. The way that you express that in your verbiage is that's going to cement in them, whether that's their first taste of fixed or growth mindset.
Yep.
And I feel like it makes them more coachable,
exactly
dude,
right.
because it gets, for a kid, it's gotta be confusing. Also, I thought about this: when you're doing anything and you're learning something new, the last person you want is your mom or dad or your spouse saying, hey, you should try this, or you should do that, right? You just it just instantly makes
That's
you
exactly right.
fucking mad, and you're like, nope. But someone else comes out of the picture, aka a coach, and tells you to do the same exact thing. You will probably 99% of the time listen to that, and you may be doing the exact same thing they were telling you, but it's different because it's coming from a coach, right? So I think that's probably that just sets a good standard at a young age that, hey, there are coaches and there are parents, and there's a distinct line. And sometimes they're the same. Like sometimes your parents are your coach, but it's all got to be a good working dynamic and relationship to have a positive effect on the kids and the parents as well. And that really matters as they get older. You'll see, obviously teenagers, no one wants to listen to their parents. Having coaches, mentors is a really good thing for development and growth. But today we're going to jump into physical and mental development, how they're tied together. We talk all the time about everything being this big puzzle, right? And you got to have all the pieces in place to have that perfect puzzle. We get this all the time, guys, girls, athletes. I work out all the time, but I never work on my mental side. Or man, I'm doing my vision work, my mental imagery, but I never go to the gym. And what you don't realize is those two things build each other up, and they create confidence in the separate entity, but they do it together. So what I mean by that is the more you train physically, the more confident you're going to be in showing up to competition. Confidence is directly tied to your mental preparation, right? If you're more confident in what you're doing, you're more mentally ready to be successful. And that's going to allow you to get further when it comes to, we talk about mental imagery, vision. I'm missing the word. What is the word I'm looking for, guys? It's not visionary. It's like,
I'm lost. I don't know.
Visualization.
Yeah. It's impossible to
Self-
visualize something if you haven't been there, right? If you're not confident in something, you're going to have a hell of a time visualizing it. If
You're
you
right.
have confidence, you're going to be much better at visualizing it and getting further and further in those sessions with that. If you are working on all of these things together, the physical, the skill, and the mental, you're going to rise much faster, right? So
Mhm.
today I want to talk about how those things correlate, how guys and girls, athletes, even people in just regular day life can kind of tie these things together and use them to be more successful in rodeo or in life. Hui has the best gear because it's tough, it's durable, it withstands the test of what we put it through, and that is why I am a big supporter of Hui brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at huibrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout. Here's the deal. Lots of rodeo gear companies are coming out, but not all are equal. Beastmaster is really setting the bar when it comes to the equipment that is built for durability and designed for success in the arena. You guys can check them out at beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving24. That's ChampionLiving24. Going to save you a little bit at checkout. Let's start with the physical development, the strength and conditioning, our jam. What does this do for performance when we do focus on strength and conditioning?
Yeah, I think like if we think about the physical development, there's a few different factors that we have to consider there, and the first one being definitely strength and conditioning. That's two things that it's going to do, and the two main things really that we at least put our focus in. And one is enhancing your performance, in whatever aspect of life that you're trying to. So, like in the case of a rodeo athlete, we want to make you better in the arena. And we want to try to reduce your risk of injury as much as we humanly possibly can. And so like that was really cool when we got to go over this in OPA. I think we kind of straightened things out at least in the way that some people think. Like Cody Custer was there sitting in on the lecture of physical development, and we got to talk about how through strength and conditioning, we're not necessarily trying to replicate the arena. We're trying to enhance the qualities that you need so that you can practice more, so that you can get on more bulls, so you can be less sore. And I feel like that was kind of a light bulb moment for some of the guys, especially Cody. Like, he admitted to us like that wasn't like, he did push-ups and had some dumbbells or something, but like it wasn't like the forethought of his training preparation. And when we talk about enhancing the quality so that you can practice longer and you can practice more frequently, that was kind of like I saw like in his eyes, he was like, oh, I get it now. So it was really cool to see that. And I'm sure there was other people in the room that maybe had a similar misconception and finally came to the conclusion like, oh, I get it, like now I can, if I do these things consistently, I can work on the other part of my physical development, which is skill.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
And I think probably a lot of people
When I
listening
when
are
I
going
think,
through that.
oh, go ahead.
I think a lot of people listening are probably having that same train of thought, right? Is it's
Mhm.
hard to think about that because you think about working out and you're like, it's just to be a better bull rider or a better roper or whatever. And the truth is, you can work out as much as you want, but if you don't do the skill stuff, you're still going to suck at your event, right? They have to go
Mhm.
together. And so go ahead. Were you going to go into the skill stuff, Logan?
No, I wasn't quite there, but I was just gonna say, like, for me, what I think about naturally, maybe it's just a phase of coaching that I've been in, but I think about like this physical development and the complementing the skill stuff in the weight room,
Mhm.
in the gym. I specifically think about the benefits of being strong, of building strength, specifically speaking, like tendon elasticity and tendon strength, right? How many
What's that
times do
mean?
we see guys have these kind of
What's
like,
tendon
well, I mean,
elasticity?
so your muscles are going to be attached to bone through tendons, right? And a lot of times that's the stuff where we get like tendonitis, or we get these bangs and bruises, right? Maybe not something that's acute, like, okay, we got stepped on and so you broke your leg. We're just thinking about the bumps and bruises that come with regular rodeoing, and especially repetitive trauma, bareback rider's elbow, or
Like
rough stock
overuse.
athlete's hips, or any rodeo athlete's hips. Yeah, overuse type injuries. And while those are still going to exist no matter how strong you are to a degree, but some of the effects of those can be mitigated by being stronger as we can move more load in the gym, just say on a back squat, as we progress and we get stronger there. Or we're utilizing some tempo, maybe we're using dumbbells because we don't have access to a weight room, and we're using progressive overload and getting stronger. What's actually happening also is that we're not just building strength in our muscles, we're also building that tendon strength, right? And so
Mhm.
those tendons become a little bit more elastic, kind of like a rubber band. You pull them suckers back, and sometimes if they're not strong enough, they're going to pop, right? Well, we
Mhm.
don't want that pop, right? We want them to be able to stretch and be able to come back. And so we're training that elasticity, and
Mhm.
not only are we building strength that's going to help you, but the tendon strength. That's like just naturally where my mind goes when we think about the benefits, one of the many benefits of the weight room for a rodeo athlete. Sure, you
Mhm.
don't need to look like, you don't need to look like Hulk Hogan or Arnold. That's not our goal there. But our goal is to prep not just your muscles, but also your joints, your
Mhm.
tendons, your ligaments for
Mhm.
competition. And I think that's one of the big things that stands out to me about physical preparation for rodeo athletes.
Absolutely. And then as we're diving into the skill acquisition and improvement, being strong, being mobile is going to directly correlate with being able to refine those sport specific skills you're going to need in the arena and making you strong in those positions. And so, like we said, the gym is going to make you strong in these movement patterns, which you'll be able to take to your skill specific practice and apply. Again,
Hmm.
that's still going to take a lot of practice, and getting perfect practice in is the most important thing here. So we see this at OPA all the time. Guys show up, have learned from multiple people, or lots of years, lots of trial and error, and their mechanics are not good. And so we've talked about this a lot on this show. In order to create good habits, how many reps, Logan?
If you've never to learn a brand new movement pattern, it's 300 to 500 repetitions to learn a brand new one. But to correct that improper movement pattern, it's 3,000 to 5,000, 10 times harder.
10 times. So I cannot stress enough going somewhere and getting the proper foundation put in and learning those proper skills for whatever event you're going to do. Go invest in a school. You will be leaps and bounds ahead of anyone else that has tried to learn by themselves and had to go back and relearn it the correct way. I promise it's way harder. But what it requires is patience. And what most of us don't have is patience. We want to go get on the bull. We want to go throw the steer, do whatever, like right now, because it's a sexy thing to do. But if you really want to do this, if this is something like is really calling you, go learn the right way, especially the skill specific things. Because then it's
Yeah.
all that strength and everything you're gaining from the gym, and then we'll talk about this mental prep stuff too as well. It's just going to skyrocket you. You'll be so far ahead of
Mhm.
anybody that's been going a lot longer than you, and it's a fact, guys. it seems ass backwards, and it's not the fun way to do it, but it works, and it is the way to do it.
Yep.
So making sure you have proper mechanics, hammering those drills and practice sessions, getting quality reps, and not the quantity. Yeah, you got to have multiple attempts of the reps, but we're not looking for 100 reps per session. We're looking for 10 quality reps per session, and then get off, come back in a couple hours and do it again. You know.
Yep.
What
It's
about
definitely
motor
quality
skills?
over quantity when it comes to that. And that's the other thing that I love about like the weight room and the skill stuff is that it just builds that general athleticism. You know what I'm saying? The proprioception, balance, motor skills, like just your ability to move through space is going to be improved. And so often that's, I mean, kind of like what we started out this podcast talking about is this, you know, this little league ball and learning how to move. You never move on from that in developing those motor skills that are going to directly translate to the spur board or the drop barrel or rope in the dummy or practice calves, tying from the post, whatever it might be. Those things are going to directly apply. And that's, I mean, it's a huge ingredient in performance that's missed by a lot of 10 to 20-year-olds that only rodeo and they don't train.
Absolutely. One of my favorite ways to kind of increase their motor coordination is plyometrics, and some obviously as we progress, some agility work. But this is something I love with our athletes because I feel you get so much bang for the buck out of these exercises, and they apply to so much rodeo and life. They make you way better at life. Go ahead, Paul. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna like exactly what you're saying. That's a quality that we lose it pretty early on, like in through like just regular child development or regular daily life. Especially like, you know, you go to school for 8 hours and you're sitting down. And if you're not playing a school sport, you're probably not bouncing around a whole lot. My 5-year-old, I can watch him all day, and he's running, jumping, bouncing, like jumping off of things. Like he's constantly moving and learning how his body works. But like if we don't continue to develop those qualities, like they're going to start to wane. And I think just through our natural daily American life, like we start to let that wane pretty early. And so it's important to keep that springy bounciness in your regular life, some type of incorporated in your training in some way.
Forever.
Yeah.
Like do that forever. It is one of the biggest things I use with my older clients. And again, we have a lot of prerequisites that have to get you there, right? But my dad's 64, and we do broad jumps, we do jumping jumping air squats, we do box jumps, like we do all that stuff because he still likes to do things like that. He likes to get out in the woods, go hunting. He likes to go be on his boat and go fishing all the time out in the ocean. He's still wants to do Ironman, which he's crazy. Why would you want to do that? I'm just kidding. That's pretty badass. But you know, he still has all these desires to be active, and I'm like, you still got to be able to jump and do these things. And this is one of my favorite things to explain to rodeo athletes why a power exercise or how it would correlate to an event, right? And jumping air squat is something I use with bareback riders all the time. Jumping air squat is a movement where we are trying to create as much tension as possible and drive that power through our body and jump as high as we can, right? And then on the way down, we have to decelerate and control the energy and recreate that. If you flip the axis of that and made them on a horizontal axis, it's literally the same thing as spurring a bareback horse, right? You're getting as much power and decelerating, stopping, and having to drive back down. We're just flipping the movement, essentially.
Yep.
It's not the same thing. It's not in the same axis, but up here between the brain, it's going to correlate to getting on that spur board and be able to set those feet and get on that bucking horse and setting those feet harder. It's going to make you better and more powerful at that.
Yep.
And that's where guys, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the energy transfer is different too, but like it would be cool if we could figure out a way to, like, I don't know, we'd have to probably develop some type of exercise where we figure out that energy from like the hips out instead of from the floor up. But like with that being said, like I can't think of a better exercise. You know, like it's still like that's the best that we have right now because it is at least the movement pattern. It is the same thing.
Yes. Yep. And again, like we've said this a million times, we're kind of just clearing the path here. Like we're whacking all the bushes out here. This is the best we can do right now, and until we can get, you know, different some of these apps that we've been hearing about,
and maybe
right,
there's
we're
not
going to be able to.
You know, like
no, I think eventually there will be. I think we'll be able to use some of these apps that are coming out with visual references, angles, power, things like that, and being able to hook that all up. Again, that just takes a little bit more investments on our part, but for now, it's the best we can do, and we're seeing big improvements in our athletes' performance. In it, not even just bareback riding, with all of them. My steer wrestlers specifically are loving the power work and seeing big transitions in the arena, which is really cool. And it's so cool that you talked about that elasticity, Logan, earlier, because I had an athlete, previous world champ in the steer wrestling, was at a jackpot. Steer stopped on him, just a little bit of overextension there, and he heard a click. And so he was saying, I'm just sore up in the top part of my pec, and he FaceTimed me. We're looking through it. I'm not a doctor, but I can tell if there's a big ball in there, like, we got to go get that checked out, bro. Like, I just want to make sure that there's nothing obvious that I can't see. It says like you need to go to the doctor and go get that looked at. No bruising, no nothing. Had the PT come over. Grade 1 strain, like very, very small. And the PT told him straight up, dude, if you wouldn't have been doing that, all this explosive work and the strength work that you've been doing, I don't know if that would have held up. I don't know if we would have been saying it was a strained pec. I think we might have had a torn pec or torn bicep or something like that. So pretty cool to hear that from, guys have been doing this a long time. And it's, we say this again a lot, but we train for that 1% of the time that something like that happens that you can't control. You can't control a steer stopping, but what you can control is your preparation and, minimizing the injury that can take place. And so again, instead of a major surgery where literally 2 days, he took 4 days and he's going to be back in a week, Yep. But again, that's that maturity level, taking that 4 day and saying, hey, it's June 1st. I have how much rodeo left? Holy smokes. This is not going to hurt anything. I need to be feeling, and he told me that on the phone yesterday. I was like, I'm going to be feeling good going in. I know I need that to hit the ground running. So pretty cool. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there.
No, I love it. I think the last thing, about like physical preparation too, that a lot of times gets skipped is the nutrition aspect, and paying attention to what we're eating.
Recovery.
And that's just something that it's not something that we really pay attention to as rodeo athletes. In fact, we straight up ignore it a lot of times, but the role that it plays on the recovery is absolutely insane. And you can do a world of good for yourself, or you can also do a world of hurt for yourself, depending on what you're consuming post competition, in between rodeos, those kind of things. And so paying attention to the quality of the food that you're eating, I'll straight up say it, like avoiding alcohol when you're, got 5 rodeos a week is probably a wise idea. And so just paying attention to what you're putting in your body, what you're fueling your body with. You wouldn't put diesel in a gasoline engine and expect it to run well, right? Like it's the exact same thing. We're designed to operate at a high level. And unfortunately, we don't always fuel ourselves the most appropriately for competition, for recovery, those kind of things. So that's part of the job too. You've got to pay attention to what you're eating.
Absolutely. And lately I've just been plugging it in as like, it's part of the plan. Like, this is part of your workout, is to focus on your sleep, get that recovery when you can, focus on your nutrition, the quality that you're eating. If you're struggling with your nutrition or just don't know where to go, hit us up. We do nutrition consults regularly. Again, we're not dietitians or nutritionists. We won't write you a meal plan, but we will give you really good guidance that you'll be able to take from it and use. And we've seen a lot of success with our athletes and clients with it. But it's all, again, the puzzle, man. If you're missing a piece, it's not going to look as good, right? You're not going to get all the benefits. So you have to look at this thing as an all-encompassing deal, and every single part affects the other. So if you're working out, competing hard, not recovering, we're gonna run out of fuel.
Everything we've talked about up to this point, if you don't add in the recovery, you don't get the benefits from the other ones. And so, like, you have to have the recovery in order for your body to make the adaptations that you're looking for.
To build the muscle, to burn the fat, to do any of it, you have to recover. You have to fuel yourself enough, and you have to sleep enough. And dude, whoop, like, I know I get a little neurotic about it sometimes, and I'm getting better about not being that way and just taking it for what it is. But if you don't know how you're recovering or don't know if you sleep enough, having this thing on will make it very apparent very quickly about how probably little you were actually sleeping. And it happens to me all the time, man. And I do good. I can do good with 3 days of not hitting my sleep mark. But that fourth day and any day continuing, I am wrecked. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock comes around. I'm like, I'm so tired. I just need a nap. Like, I'm done. If I get
you've slept less than 7 hours 4 days in a row.
Yeah, and you don't realize that you're accumulating debt, sleep debt every time that you're not hitting enough sleep, right? And so it adds up, and you still have to knock that debt down. You still got to make up for it. And what that usually have to decrease your activity, right? You have to work out less, and because again, you're just adding more sleep debt if you're training harder and harder. So you have to manage everything, and the recovery is huge. And we talked about overtraining a little bit in some of these previous sessions, and I know we've got a couple blog posts up there about nutrition and overtraining. Man, if you guys haven't checked out our blog, I've been hard after it. There's a bunch of articles on there now, so go to the website and check that out. Tons of free information there. Let's get in the mental side, guys. Let's talk about what mental development is, how it correlates, and will obviously benefit rodeo athletes, and how the physical ties to it. We kind of talked about that in the beginning, though. Mental toughness, the most overused term in the world.
I think this is the thing that if most rodeo athletes spend the majority of their time, if not all their time, on the skill acquisition, the physical development aspect of, riding the spur board, doing the thing. If they do anything else, it would be this. It would be the mental development, and we hear that saying, rodeos 90% mental. I don't care what percentage you put on it. Like, there is a huge piece of the puzzle that is mental. Show me somebody that has picture perfect fundamentals and is in great physical condition and dials in their nutrition, but has no confidence, no mental game. Show you somebody that'll never win anything. Show me somebody that has really good fundamentals, absolutely in horrendous shape physically, but has all the confidence in the world, and I'll show you JB Mooney. Like, the mental game is a huge portion.
It's everything, man.
It's such a mind game out there, and trying to make sure that we say, we hear that term mental toughness all the time, and it's like, man, I think it's good that we kind of take a second and, what even is mental toughness? You know what I'm saying? What is that? What does that mean?
Well, if you ask most people, it's go push yourself till you die or puke or whatever, right? Going and doing hard things.
Who's gonna carry the boats?
Yeah, and dude, for sure, yes, that will build some mental toughness and resilience. But you know what else is hard? Getting 8 hours of sleep. Telling yourself to do mobility instead of train when you're wrecked. Like, those are hard things to do as well. And doing mobility every day, 10 minutes a day, is probably the hardest thing in the world, because you know what? None of my athletes can do that. And it's not because they don't have the time. It's because they don't have the discipline. And I'm not saying none of them. There's a good handful of them that do. But it comes down to this one thing. It's that you don't want it bad enough. Doing the things correctly is what mental toughness is about. Doing the reps right, paying attention to how you're moving in the gym, how you're moving in your skill-specific practice. That is what mental toughness is. Knowing that I need to take a 4-day and not push this weekend so I'm ready for the rest of the summer is mental toughness. Knowing that, like,
exactly right.
Don't be a pussy is not a good excuse for continuing on if I'm actually injured, right? Like, those are hard decisions to make, and it takes a lot of mental toughness to know that that's the maturity level that you need to be the best in the world. The best in the world push through when they have to. The last, September or whatever, they're on the bubble. Even if they're not, a dude's in the winning the world, and I guarantee something comes up the last month, he is going to hold out that month to know that he doesn't care about the spots he loses in that last month, because he's going to show up to the finals and be able to continue on where he left off at 100%, right? There's a huge maturity point to this mental toughness thing, and that's the point or the thing that kind of Logan was talking about is, who's going to carry the boats? That's the only kind of mental toughness we hear about. That's the popular, that's the sexy kind of mental toughness.
Well, I think a good example of kind of what you're talking about is like the situation, the situationalness. I don't know how you would say that. Like the situation specific, mental toughness. So, Kai Hamilton at the NFR last year,
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a perfect example.
Yes.
He had to power through the next
Yes.
day, even though he was hospitalized, because if he didn't, that world title would have went to either
Yeah.
Josh Frost or Sage Kimzey.
Mm-hmm.
He had to get on at least one or two more bulls. And had that happened at any other point in the season, that would have been a very bad decision to push through,
Yes.
like that type of injury and try to get
Mhm.
on another one. But
Mhm.
with a once in a lifetime opportunity, possibly once in a lifetime opportunity, you never know when that's going to come back around again. You stay on one more bull and you lock up a gold buckle. Like, that's where you have to be smart. Like, so don't look at Kai's situation and be like, oh, well, Kai did it at the NFR. That means I need to do it too. Well,
At the
if
high
it's
school
March
rodeo.
or
Yeah.
what is it now? It's June.
Or high
Like,
school rodeo.
yeah, it's June at my high school rodeo. Like, you don't need to come back from the hospital and go get on that day. Like, it's not worth it. But like in the specific situations, you have to weigh the pros and the cons and figure
Mhm.
out, what is the hard decision here that I need to make, and why do I feel the impulse to make it one way or the other. And like, you kind of got to look at it at all directions.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you're at a fork in the road, and the fork in the road, you can see this object of whatever it might be, this hard decision, and you can either push through or get better. Right?
Mhm.
There's a
Mm.
time to push through. There definitely is. It's not very often. There's also a time to get better, and that might mean taking a 4-day. That might mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can say with confidence that in Kai's situation, that was the time to push through. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That there was no doubt about it. Doesn't happen very often, as you guys said. So
Yeah.
pushing through, or are you getting better? Like ask yourself that question the next time you're in that situation. Are you pushing through because you have to, or are you actually going to be getting better?
I love it. Great points. What about guys? I don't think a lot of people think about this as mental prep or helping your mental toughness. What about like tactical game time or like in-depth breakdown of the event, right? Like watching film, evaluating
Mm.
everything, like really knowing your event, like knowing the mechanics of what happens in the event. And you talk to any of these guys that are really, really talented at the events that they do. And I just spent the last week around some of the best bull riders and bareback riders in the world. And the one thing all of them can do is 98% of them can tell you exactly what happens during a ride and what you have to do to be successful at it. And they can look at any ride and tell you, oh, there's the flaw. Oh, that's where you messed up. And that, man, the confidence that you can gain from seeing the tangibles that you have to have in order to be successful I think it's huge. Huge. That's what helped me the most when I got to do my little comeback was I just became a master of the sport. I watched bareback riding on YouTube all day and broke down rides and applied it to the spur board, and it helped everything.
Yeah. No, I think you're onto something there. I don't know for sure, but the number that I've talked of people that I've talked to, the number of bull riders, let me qualify it a little bit. The number of bull riders that I talked to that actually understand what's happening during a ride is like very, very few. And it leads me to assume that most guys either one aren't watching film at all, or two, like they're just kind of watching it and be like, ooh, that would be cool if I could do that or whatever. Like, maybe they're just like watching it as a spectator, but like they're not really a student of the game, because like there's just they can't communicate what's happening. And or they, they're focusing on the wrong things. Like, they're like, oh, my free arm. It's like, dude, forget about your free arm. Look at the rest of you. Like, like, who cares about your free arm? Come on now. So like I guess to back up what you were saying, Doug, is like, I feel like that is a big part that rodeo athletes are overlooking, is like, you need to be a student of the game. You need to understand what's going on and how to execute that so that you can make those split second decisions. Because if you get to thinking, you're behind. Like, your conscious brain is slower than what a bull's moving at. But your subconscious, if you know these things by heart and they become second nature, your subconscious is much faster. And so if you can turn those things over to your subconscious, then you can make game time reactions and decisions without having to slow down in your conscious thinking.
I love that. And nothing's an island, right? All of these things are connected, and you can be working on one at home and simultaneously be working on another. And I think about those game time situations and putting yourself there on the stationary barrel or on the spur board, and going through that, what delivery is this bull out of, or this horse, like what color is he, what horse have I drawn, like, and putting yourself in those game situations. And then when obviously it's a little different on the drop barrel, but like on the spur board, when you step on the spur board, like, putting your foot in the slat, like just going through everything similar as it would be at a rodeo and putting yourself in those real, I need to have a game plan. This bull typically likes to well guys. And so, this is why he wells guys as part of being a student of the sport. Like, so then what's my game plan going in? And you're practicing that game plan on the stationary barrel or on the drop barrel or on the spur board. And how do I note, you don't go at every single bucking horse the same. You're going to ride Virgil much different than you're going to ride a 19-point hopper, right? Like, yeah, the fundamentals are the same, but your game plan going in is probably going to be a little bit different. Well, how do you know that unless you've put that spur ride on the spur board at home? And what's that doing? Yes. Is that physical development? Sure. Skill acquisition? Absolutely. Mental development? You bet. Right? Like, you can develop all of those things simultaneously at home as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's all tied together. Let's kind of chat about if you do one without the other and what that'll look like in the outcomes of your performances, right? And this is kind of just us basing our experiences on what we see here. And if you are working out and not working on your mental tools as well, the first thing I can think about is kind of like that burnout situation, lack of motivation. You are working out really hard, but you have built no mental resilience. And so you hit that point where it's like, F this, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And usually, no matter how hard you work out, if you're not working on the mental side, you're going to see a decline in your performance, no matter your physical abilities. And Logan talked about that, right? You can work out as much as you want, and if you are not confident, it's not going to go well. And you can work out as little as possible and be the most confident SOB out there, and you're one of the best bull riders in the ever.
Yes. But make no mistake about it. They both have attributes. Anybody that's great at rodeo has the skill acquisition and has the mental development. You know what I'm saying? They have some form of mental development. So you can't just completely ignore the physical, because you're still working on your skill. But like, they just let the gym go. But anybody that's great has to have flawless fundamentals. That's the physical component of the weight room, or getting stronger, or working on those things, is just the difference. It's going to improve performance. Hopefully it mitigates some injuries along the way, but it's really the determining factor on how long you get to do this for. Are you done at 29 or are you done at 35? That's I think one of the biggest things that comes into play with the weight room. But anybody that's been great has had that skill ability, and they've also had a steel trap of a brain. Hence the reason I was just mediocre.
Which one were you missing?
Oh, the mental. Well, I mean, I wasn't very physically prepared, but I had the skill down. I rode the spur board all the time, but the mental did not have that. I was a freaking train wreck.
Me too.
Just call me Caleb Bennett.
Oh, damn!
Shots fired.
I love Caleb. I just giving him crap.
I'm calling him.
You should. I'll tell him.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll put this as a real soundbite. That.
Yeah. Collaborate with him on social media.
Collab.
What about if you're mentally resilient and you're not physically, or you're not physically resilient, you're not training, you're just really confident. What do we run into there?
Yeah, so I was going to say that the other scenario was what I see most frequently with my clients, where they have given up, or they have given themselves to physical development, but then they kind of forget about the mental development side. I would say the large majority of not our clients are on the other end of the spectrum. They put a lot of time into the mental development. They put no time into the physical development. So that's where we see streaky riders, at least in the rough stock events. They're really hot for a really short amount of time. They're 90 points everywhere they go. Then they're at home on the couch because I got wrecked out.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're putting all your effort into the mental development, can you succeed? Absolutely. Will that success last? Probably
Probably
not,
not.
because you're gonna run out of energy. Like, you're gonna run out of the things that you need to keep you on the road, be it the physical development as far as strength, the tendon strength, like we were talking about earlier, anything that's going to help you mitigate injuries. Like, those things are just as important to keep you on the road for an extended amount of time.
100%, man.
Look at Josh. Josh is a good example
was
of that.
just
Like,
gonna say
Josh gets those little bumps and bruises all the time because he gets on more bulls than anybody else, but they don't keep him out. Like, maybe he's got a couple days off or something where he needs to recover. But, like, I mean, not that I'm going to promote anybody doing this, but we've seen him get knocked out last year and then come right back the next week and get back to winning. And so, like, he's able to recover a lot faster from the road. Like, there's just certain things that are going to happen when you're rodeoing that are going to happen. Those bumps and bruises are going to pop up. Josh is able to recover from those and keep winning and stay healthy for the most part all year long. Whereas other guys, they're hot for 2-3 months. They're hurt for 4 to 6 months. They're hot for 2-3 months. They're hurt for 4 to 6 months. That's not a very winning strategy in my mind.
No. And that's going to not lead to any kind of longevity in the sport, right? The more times you're sitting out hurt, you got to think about that as potentially knocking years off your career every time we're doing that, right? Your body is different after every one of those. It's not just a minor injury. Usually it's pretty substantial. So body changes a lot, and we hit a certain point where we just can't adapt anymore and still perform at a high level in that event. And so you have to do all these things, guys, girls. You have to focus on the physical strength and conditioning. You have to focus on your mental resilience, mental toughness, and again, looking at that in a different light, doing things that are, yes, hard, but are business decisions. This is a business at the end of the day. You have to think about it that way. And if it's not your business, if it's just a hobby, and then go do whatever you want. Like, I have, you can take our advice or not, but that's totally up to you on that. What do you guys have? You guys have anything else to wrap this up?
No, I don't think so. I try to explain this whole thing as like is it a Venn diagram? Is that what that's called? With like the three circles, you know what I'm talking about? The three circles. And so, and you've got like, one of them is skill development, one of them's physical development, one of them's mental development. And you've got to grow all three and try to get that area overlapping in the center as big as possible. Because that's where optimal performance is going to be, is in the center, when all three things are growing and they're all firing. And you're in great shape. You've prepared yourself mentally, and you have picture perfect fundamentals. That's when you're gonna see success,
dude. Yeah, that's it. And if you guys are listening and you need, we want some guidance, want some help, we do free consults. Would love to, tell you guys all about our coaching options available, how everything works, what you guys can expect from us as coaches. We'll give you a lowdown on what we expect from our clients as well. You can go to our website, www.championlivingfitness.com, and click the sign up now button. It's free consult. Get to chat with us. We make sure we team you up with the right coach and get all your questions answered. And real quick, just make sure you guys give us a follow on whatever listening platform that you're on for your podcast. If you have any suggestions for episodes, we'd love to hear them. You can hit us up on the email on the website. I've been getting a handful of you guys sending me suggestions there. You can shoot us to a DM on Instagram or Facebook. But again, we do this to help you. So any information you want, let us know, and we'll do our best to get that out as quickly as possible. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later. Hey guys, we got some exciting news for you. If you're listening to this, we know that you're committed to upping your game in the arena. And we're teaming up with the Rodeo Now app to help you do just that. The Rodeo Now app allows you to record, upload, and catalog your rides and runs, review your performances in slow motion, and our favorite feature, if you're not familiar with your stock draw, you can search your animal by name to get all the intel you need to make your next ride a winning one. Join the Rodeo Revolution today and download the Rodeo Now app for free. It's available in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Y'all, if you're having trouble sleeping or you've got really achy muscles, Power Pro CBD has teamed up with us to bring you their tinctures and their warming lotions. Guys, these have been a crucial part of my nightly routine. Y'all can check them out at PowerPro, PWRpro.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, to save you a good chunk of discount.
If you want to learn more about our coaches and program options, make sure to swing over to our website at www.championlivingfitness.com. You can fill out the Become an Athlete form to set up your free consultation and have all your questions answered by a coach.